29th Town Board meeting. Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. I'd like to take a moment of silence today for the passing of Dutchess County Sheriff Butch Anderson and for his 50 years of service to Dutchess County. He'll be sorely missed. It was a sudden death this morning. So a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Roll call.
Jeff Renahan, First Ward.
Bill Carlos, Second Ward.
Jessica Lopez, Third Ward.
Michael Sapone, Fourth Ward. Stefan Cracker, Fifth Ward.
Ann Shoshin, Sixth Ward.
Felicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, Attorney for the Town.
John Baisley, Town Supervisor. Welcome, everybody. Tonight's agenda, first thing on the agenda is a public hearing for the comprehensive plan update. The second one's a public hearing. Town Code Amendment Film and Photography will be tabled to the next meeting or indefinitely at this time. 3 is public hearing, Town Code Amendment, Chapter 203, Water. 4 is a presentation by Dutchess County Commission on Human Rights. 5 is accept the resignation of Kathy Edwards, Animal Control Officer. 6 is accept the retirement of Edward Place, Senior Wastewater Mechanic and Sewer Department. 7 is a resolution of Crestwood Park, the Nicholas J. Johnson Jr. Sports Complex at the Thomas D. Mahar Jr. Memorial Ball Field. 8 is appoint Joseph Wisniewski as a seasonal part-time crossing guard. 9, appoint Frederick Rowley as a deputy building inspector. 10, notification of historic landmarks, Albany Post Road, Milestone 77, 80, and 83. 11 is approve the Town of Poughkeepsie Soccer Club Columbus Day event. 12 is appoint Vanderwater and Vanderwater for a search warrant. 13 is approve a 30-day waiver on liquor license and Residence Inn. 14 is authorize supervisor to sign a participation agreement with Dutchess County Self-Insurance Workman's Comp Plan. 15, authorize easements for sanitary sewer purposes.
15 is removed.
We'll get to that point.
Oh, sorry.
15 will be removed. 16, authorize supervisor to sign Arthur S. May school redevelopment documents. 17, special consents. SC1, Town Code Amendment 69, set date for public hearing on vaping, e-cigarettes, and other tobacco products. SC2, authorize a CDBG agreement with Dutchess County Dutchess. SC3, notification of petition referred to legal, Ball versus the town. With that, I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing number 1.
Second.
Is there anybody here to discuss public hearing number 1 on comprehensive plan update? Yes? Come on up and speak, please.
I'm Michelle Squires. I've spoken to you before on the comprehensive plan.
Could you speak into the microphone?
Sure. My name's Michelle. I'm a Cherry Hill resident, and I've spoken before on the comprehensive plan, and this ties into what we're going to be adding to our environment in comprehensive plans and plans going forward. I've been a resident for more than 12 years, and I have become an electromagnetic sensitive individual. I live about 1/10 of a mile from a proposed vertical bridge, 336.8-foot iHeartMedia replacement tower. There's going to be more additions to our plans, I know it, that have to do with signal and all kinds of signals. From earlier board meetings, I've heard minimal or zero questioning of the applicant pertaining to insurance liability details. I'm talking about iHeartMedia, as well as the FCC guidelines that are now deemed unlawful on full engineering specs that, as far as I know, have not been provided. They've also not been reviewed by someone who understands the magnitude of a 1,000-watt tower that's going to be added to Poughkeepsie. Whether it's in the comprehensive plan, I don't know, but future wireless structure and signals are going to be added. In addition, the selection of materials or the use of foreign components has not been discussed. This gross neglect of duty places our residents at risk and would impinge on our right to the pursuit of life, liberty, or property under the 14th Amendment, Section 1, which is aligned by this statute. Section 242 of Title 18 makes it a crime for a person acting under color of law to willfully deprive a person of a right or privilege protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States. For the purpose of Section 242, acts under color of law include acts not only done by federal, state, or local officials within their lawful authority, but also acts done beyond the bounds of that official's lawful authority. If the acts are done while the official is purporting to or pretending to act in the performance of his or her official duties, persons acting under color of law within the meaning of this statute include police officers, prison guards, and other law enforcement officials, as well as judges, care providers in public health facilities, and others who are acting as public officials. It's not necessary that the crime be motivated by animus toward the race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin of the victim. The offense is punishable by a range of imprisonment up to a life term or the death penalty, depending upon the circumstances of the crime and the resulting injury, if any. So Title 18 USC Section 242, whoever under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both, and if bodily injury results from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts include the use, attempted use, or threatened use of a dangerous weapon. RF microwave radiation is a bioweapon, everybody. Explosives or fire shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. And if death results from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts include an attempt to kill, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for any term of years or for life or both, or may be sentenced to death. Deprivation of our right to the pursuit of life, liberty, or property under the 14th Amendment, Section 1, is aligned by this statute. And in closing, I say, if members of our board, elected or voluntary, subject us to risk in light of full engineering specs and origins of materials not provided by applicant, in this case, Vertical Bridge or others, and not reviewed by an independent experts in RF transmissions of this magnitude, especially 1,000 watts, which is facing my bedroom, if our board subjects us to RF microwave radiation not fully insured, skip EIS review, environmental impact statement review, and subjects us to risk in light of the FCC's now unlawful guidelines decided to be capricious, arbitrary, and not evidence-based by the USDC Court of Appeals under color of law, they'll be prosecuted. I mean, the color of law information is becoming known to a lot of residents now. I'm just saying, I've tried for over 3 years to educate, you know, in the hope that our elected and unelected officials would pay heed and take proactive measures, or at least care to respond. But I have not received any satisfactory information about actions that our board or town board or others would take, including Ms. Suserino and Dee Dee Barrett. I've actually sat with her staff, her chief of staff, and this is just really bewildering. So I'm telling you, everybody, because there are groups out there that are now beginning to prepare information for prosecutors. So we need to, I mean, we were given a wonderful opportunity by RFK Jr., who participated in suing the FCC, which was historic. And the FCC lost on August 13th, last month. And if we can't ride on that to take action, and it's just, this is an unsustainable situation. And it's only going to get worse with the complicity of, with the funding attached and all kinds of things that are being arranged for our town. And it looks good because it's money that the town needs, but it's going to turn bad. And they're already, and I know I sent information to you guys on the Federal Register, and it's page 52,000 something or other, and I shared that with you people. That project is expanding, where they're experimenting on unwitting participants. It's human experimentation and actually exposing residents in New York City, Ohio, North Carolina, Brooklyn. It's expanding to levels intentionally,
Michelle, could you wrap
high
up?
levels. So that's my wrap up, and please read my emails and understand what I'm talking about. And the police don't deserve what may or may not be emitted upon them at 20 Tucker Drive. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here that would like to discuss the comprehensive plan? Is there anybody online that would like to discuss the comprehensive plan? No? If not, make a motion to adjourn this public hearing until the next meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing number 2 is going to be tabled. We had a meeting with the film industry, and we got some recommendations we'll be going over the next couple of weeks. So table that one. I'd like to open public hearing number 3, Town Code Amendment, Chapter 203, Water.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody here to
Mr.
discuss?
Paisley, I'm sorry, can I go backwards
Yeah.
to number 2? Public hearing. My note here says it was to be tabled.
Yes, to the next meeting.
So will it be renoticed to be heard, or is it being continued to a particular date?
Continue to the next meeting.
Pardon me, thank you.
We should be done by then. We just got their recommendations in and some of their comments like yesterday.
Thank you, pardon me.
That's an open public hearing number 3 on water. All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody here to discuss public hearing number 3, specifically Chapter 203 on water? No? Motion to close public hearing number 3?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Ranahan.
Being enacted that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie pursuant to a public hearing held on September 29, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 over Rocket Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby adopt the following amendments to the Town of Poughkeepsie Code, Chapter 203, Water, specifically 203-6, entitled Meters, Civil Penalties, and attached hereto as Exhibit A. And be it further enacted that the Town Board does hereby waive verbatim reading of Exhibit A, and does direct that said local law shall be spread across the record as if it, in fact, had been read verbatim. Be it further enacted that the legal notice of public hearing was posted on September 8, 2021, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on September 17, 2021. And be it further enacted that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie has determined that this action is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review. And be it further enacted that said local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. That brings us to the end of our... What? Yeah, they changed the list. That brings us to the end of our public hearing. Number 4 is a presentation by Dutchess County Commission of Human Rights. Good evening.
Hello?
Hey, just speaking closely so we can get it. Good evening, thanks for coming out tonight to give us a presentation.
Thank you for hosting us. I want to start by introducing the two of us. We expected to be accompanied by our leader, the chair of the Human Rights Commission, Jody Miller, who is the most experienced at us doing these, but you've got the pinch hitters tonight and we will do our best. I'm Lance Ringel and this is Shirley Adams, and we are two of the members of the Dutchess County Commission on Human Rights.
Thank you. Thanks for
Better?
coming.
Okay. We come here because it's a moment in time in our country when we face increased hate and bias, and we wanted to introduce the Commission to you as we are introducing the Commission to all the town and village boards across the county. We want to develop a closer collaboration in sharing information with our local municipalities and explain what we do and don't do as a Commission, and talk about current issues and how we assist. We were originally established in 1984 by County Executive Lucille Pattison, and we're in business till 2010 when the Commission was kind of put on hiatus. In 2016, particularly in the wake of what happened in Charleston, South Carolina, County Executive Mark Molinaro and the county legislature reinstated and reconvened the Dutchess County Commission on Human Rights. It is comprised of Jody Miller, our chair, who is also a county employee, and 14 volunteers, including the two of us. We are two of the people who've been with the Commission since its reinstatement in 2016, and the membership of the Commission is taken from all around the county, from all sorts of backgrounds, and professional and from different groups. We are appointed to 3-year terms, and we are entitled to be in 2 3-year terms, so Shirley and I are coasting through our last year now. I'm the chair of the nominating committee, so I want to particularly make a pitch that we are always looking for new members. We will be replacing 3 members next year who will rotate off, and if anybody watching, or if you know anybody on the board who might be interested, our application is in the on the website. I'll turn over to Shirley to talk about our mission.
Thank you, Lance. And thank you for having us here this evening. Some would say our mission of the Dutchess County Human Rights Commission is very simple, but I think it's powerful and straightforward. And basically it's defending human rights, bridging differences, and embracing diversity. And my dad used to say what you're going to do it, and the rest speaks for itself. And that really is more or less about what our mission, it definitely speaks for itself. Our mission is set forth, the roles and the purpose for the Commission is set forth by resolution and local law. In terms of what it is that we are trying to do and determined to do in terms of our role and purpose,
Okay, sure.
Yes. I forget to advance.
That's okay, I was doing it too. So.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not going to read the bullet for you. You can do that at your leisure. But what I want to bring your attention to is are the active words and the verbs that are here, such as fostering and educating and addressing and organizing and developing and acting. And that speaks and says volumes about the work of the Commission. And one of the things that, in particular on this list of bullets, is about to address discriminatory practices as well as tension and conflict and help to resolve them. And this is not in any order of priority, but I want to point this particular bullet out because we have an ask of you. And the good news is that it doesn't include or doesn't ask you to do anything in terms of your budget. So one of the things that is very useful in terms of the Commission's work and in terms of helping as a resource to town halls, towns, villages, and cities is that we are asking for a liaison from your board to be your point person to the commission, and that person actually is one that would facilitate communication between the commission and you as leaders of the town of Poughkeepsie. And it is very valuable to have, not so much as when there is an issue, but it also keeps the open channels of communication and let you know, be aware of what is going on in your municipality and in and around you, and concerns that might be something that might affect the town. So we ask that you consider appointing a person from the board. And I think in our packet we have a description of that. And it doesn't require a lot of work and a lot of time, because I know that you're not looking for another job. So that's an ask that we have for you this evening. The other thing that I want to make sure that we bring to your attention is that the commission is not an investigative body. We do not have enforcement authority. We are here as a resource and as a resource to facilitate communication and to resolve issues before they really become big issues and need to be investigated. So as you can see from my bullet points, there are a number of ways that, in terms of our role and our purpose, which I will not go into, but suffice to say that we are a resource in many areas, and a valuable resource.
Thank you, Shirley. One of the things that has happened in the 5 years that we've been on the board, on the commission, is we've seen a big uptick in incidents of hate speech and bias. Some of the examples we're talking about include white supremacist literature circulating in various villages and college campuses, and Confederate flag vehicle with a Confederate flag sticker repeatedly parked in front of one residence. Anti-Semitic comments made to customers at a store, and also swastikas on the college campus bench and signposts and in an apartment window. And anti-LGBTQ flyers posted on personal property and destruction of property that display the LGBTQ pride flag. So that gives you a sense of what's happened, because when we started, that wasn't the main focus of what we were thinking we were going to talk about. But there's been a rise across the country, and it's happened here too. I'll let Shirley talk about what can be and has been done.
Yeah, and you're asking what can be done and what has been done. And just to give you a little bit of it, the thing that we have to remember is that silence seems to convey consent. So we cannot just stand by and do nothing. We first would begin by checking in with those directly affected, whether individual or group, having conversations and expressions of hate in its various forms, making statements and responses. As I said before, we need to interrupt the silence so that it cannot be interpreted as acceptance, and working with elected officials to recognize that hate is a concern and that they need to address and speak out when incidences of hate occur. And here again is just a soft reminder that the appointment of a liaison from your board would be very useful and valuable in this particular instance. Okay, and as Lance mentioned before, I want to bring your attention to, and some of you are probably already aware of, the Nazi flag that was in the window, and that was a big concern for many residents and people doing business in the Arlington area. We went through several types of interventions and methods, such as reaching out to the landlord, reaching out to people that had a relationship with the person of the apartment where the flag was in the window. We had conversations with local leaders, and in the end, it's the intervention with someone who had a relationship with the individual proved to be most successful in this case. But that took a bit of time and a bit of sensitive intervention and conversations with residents and business people in the area. And again, we reached out, had a listening session with the local Asian American community regarding an increase in Asian hate and bias incidents. And so this resulted in some members meeting with local elected officials and to discuss concerns. And many of us, including residents, took a bystanders intervention training, which proved to be very helpful. And as a result of meetings and feedback from the community and from residents, the commission is working with law enforcement to host a What is a Hate Crime panel for the public that will be held on October 21st from 7 to 8:30 p.m. If any of you are interested in that, we can give you more information about that if you contact the commission. A few years ago, the commission supported a Hate Has No Home Here gathering with clergy, elected officials, and residents in response to flyers found throughout the community and as a shared experience of standing up to hate. That conversation and that gathering proved to be very helpful because individuals and communities feel that others are sharing in their concern and that they are not alone when you're able to promote and foster communication within and among groups. I think, Lance, did I miss something?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to give the highlights of that.
That's
'cause it
fine.
could go on.
That's fine. I wanted to point out that, as you all know very well, in the last year and a half, we've had to pivot, as you have, to do our mission, and somewhat to our surprise, we ended up busier than ever. You may have as well. We established a speaker series working with the Ulster and Orange County Human Rights Commissions called Doing More Than Nothing About Hate and Discrimination. It's online. There have been installments of it, I'd say, about every month and sometimes twice a month. When the order came down from the governor's office about police modernization, the county executive asked us to help organize input forums from around the county. We did 6 that were geographically appointed, although they were online, and 1 that was Spanish language virtual forum, and collected all that input and added it to the report. And there's been quite a bit around COVID-19 itself. Shirley mentioned the discussion with the Asian American group. Actually, there was not one member of the group that we met with, and there was a sizable number who didn't have an incident that they hadn't reported. The particular things that have happened in the wake of COVID in terms of bias incidents particularly seem to be aimed at Asian Americans and Jewish Americans. On vaccine access, it was communities of color at the beginning who seemed to be not getting the vaccines to reach them. We met with the County Health Commission about that. We're part of that effort, and I think that's improved a great deal. I also wanted to go through what we've done a little earlier in our lives before our lives all turned upside down. We have a wonderful one-on-one sort of program called 100 Cups of Coffee, which simply is a matter of getting a large group of people together, pairing them off, and having at least 2 discussions face-to-face with somebody different from you who might have a whole different point of view, but then you find out maybe not so different. It's called Transformative Community Dialogue. It's been very effective as a way of really, in a granular way, dealing with group differences. We also had listening sessions all over the county, and we still have them now online. And that, the whole idea behind that is we don't know what all the concerns are. We wanted to hear from the public. And just to give you an example of one we had, when there was a lot of anti-Muslim activity, we actually convened down in the town of Hopewell and South and then Fishkill. And there is a large Muslim community there, and a lot of people turned out, but a lot of people also turned out from the deaf community that we didn't anticipate, and we heard a lot about what people from the deaf community face. So the advantage of listening sessions is we don't set the agenda, the public that comes does, and we learn quite a bit. We've also been part of the celebration of the International Day of Human Rights with the FDR Presidential Library, with Valkill, and the United Nations Association of the Hudson Valley. Eleanor Roosevelt from our county was the one who got that resolution passed to the UN in 1948, and we're coming up on the 75th anniversary. I don't want to go too long through the bullet list that I've got, but I just want to point out that this Town and Village project, which we started with, is a very large part of what we've been doing to get the word out about what we're doing and to say we're here and we want to be a resource for you on anything related to human rights. What we're currently witnessing in this county are ways in which hate in various forms can weaken the fabric of community and can have a ripple effect across groups. Commission can help you as a resource. We hope that should activities of hate arise in your area, you'll bring them to our attention so that we may partner with you. And we want to thank you for your time. We look forward to having opportunities to collaborate with each of you again, invite you to reach out and make use of the commission, and once again, would love to have a liaison. And if anybody that you know would make a potentially good member of the commission, we're looking for applications all the time. Thank you. And I apologize to the audience for not being as good on keeping the PowerPoint going as I should.
My technology is none.
I would just like to thank you both for coming out tonight. I think the fact that you're both doing this as volunteers and the commission is a volunteer commission, it's impressive because it's very important stuff. It's very important information that you're putting out to the different towns. So thank you for taking your time out of your day, out of your evening to be here for us. So.
Are there any questions?
No, but Shirley, for all the years I've known you, I'd be proud to work with you, so I'll volunteer to be the liaison for the board, okay? I'll call you tomorrow, all right?
It's good to see you.
And that's good news.
That's very good news. Thank
Shirley, do
you.
you have any public events? Please email them to us, and we will make sure we get our end to try to distribute what we can out to the public.
That
Because
would
every
be
extra avenue
terrific.
does help.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
thank you for interfacing with
Please
us.
call on us.
Yeah,
I'll give you a
don't
call
hesitate
tomorrow.
to.
Thank you.
We're here for that.
That was quick. We didn't have to look for him, right? Thanks, Mike.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And at this point, Charlie, the budget presentation. So Charlie setting this up, I just want to make a few comments. With last year being COVID, this was a difficult matter for all towns to deal with. Nobody really understood how we were going to come out of this business-wise, community-wise, and I think we came out pretty strong as far as financial and budget-wise. We were still worried about the after effects. We have a long way to go. As you see now, we're having major issues with businesses receiving product and things, so the impact to our community still could be going on for a couple of years forward from this. And the fact that the numbers keep going up and down, and we really don't know where we stand yet. We have a very conservative budget again. We didn't want to go and feel that we did have a good year with sales tax and mortgage tax, that this is a time to make any jump going up. I still kept it as conservative as possible, understanding we really don't know where we're going to go from here. If businesses will still shut down, what's going to happen to the market, what's going to happen with the delivery processes going on, the employment process, the housing market is at a high now, but how long is it going to hold on to that? We are seeing some growth and some development, but what's going on, we don't know where will that stand, so we are a little bit still hanging out there to see where we go from here. So we kept this as low as possible. Charlie.
Okay, this is the town's total budget. All revenues, expenses, appropriations. You can see the town itself is 49,138,000, and then a fire district and a library bring up the total budget over $77 million.
Charlie, just so everybody knows, the A fund is the town and the village combined. The B fund is everything, and the DB fund is highway.
Right, the B fund is outside the village. It's the B fund, police, zoning, planning, building inspections. And DB is the highway, obviously water and sewer funds, special districts, street lights,
Ambulance
drainage,
district.
different assorted, like the Arlington bid,
The ambulance
ambulance
district.
corps, yeah. Okay, this is the budget, 2001 versus 2002. If you can see it. But like Jay said, with the COVID, we tried to keep it down as much as possible. Can you see the total percentage? The total budget, tax budget, all right, this is just the tax budget, is 1/3 of 1%, 0.28 between a quarter and 1/3 increase over last year. So we kept it as flat as possible. We did use some fund balance to keep it low. Like Jay was saying, with the COVID, people out of jobs, we took all that into account, tried to keep it, and we had good years with the sales tax, mortgage tax, so we thought this would be the time we can keep it almost as close as we can get to zero budget, zero. In this budget, we had no reduction in the workforce. We reduced the tax rate from $497 to $470 per thousand. This is in effect because of the total assessed value of the town. The residential assessed value went up higher, so it gets distributed more. So that is part of the drop. As far as the tax cap goes, over the last couple of years, we've accumulated, so we never hit the tax cap. We have 1.1 million accumulated under the tax cap. Obviously, we had to deal with the COVID-19 virus this year, and also trying to keep the infrastructure sound. We borrowed $5 million for road infrastructure. We have upgraded the sewer plant and the water plant, and this just goes along with it. Interest rates are at an all-time low, so we thought this would be a good time to do more investing into the infrastructure where we can get the money relatively cheap.
And along that line, Charlie, with the road infrastructure, we also received a few grants. We received a grant last year for our flusher truck. We received, I think, about 75%. We paid about $45,000 on a $400,000 plus vehicle. We also got a grant for the Hagen Town pump station. So the infrastructure is getting built. The infrastructure's getting done. The pump stations are getting done. We went through the DEC consent order, take care of I&I with our sewer lines. We're making upgrades, and we're getting there. We're still going through that process, and we're still applying for a lot of grants.
Right, and the state also gives us money for CHIPS that also help the infrastructure. This is just to show you where the mortgage tax has been. Last year, we did 1.3 million total mortgage tax. Our budget was 950. Again, we budgeted 950, and we already hit the mortgage tax number this year. So we did increase the revenue projections for next year on the mortgage tax. You can see the last 4 years been over $1 million, and our budget's been at 950 for the last 4 years. So we have accumulated fund balance.
As Charlie said, the mortgage tax, you want to go up. If you go up slowly, because we had years before where all of a sudden the mortgage tax dropped drastically, and we were stuck having to back up. And if you stay far enough below the number in a reasonable area, you're safe for the curve if things do start going back down.
Right. And the same with the sales tax. Here's the sales tax over the last 4 years. as you can see again, in 2020, we had over 3 million. What happens, we get a set amount from the county, with any excess based on population, we get that the following year. So 2019 was a very good year. So we got a big bonus check, let's say in I think March of 2020. Again, looking at these numbers, 3 million mortgage tax last year, we only budgeted 2.5. 2019, 2.8, we budgeted 2.2. So we've been very conservative, and we've building up the fund balance over the last couple of years. And this year in sales tax, we did increase up to 2.6 million, which I think is still comfortable. You know, it's not outrageous to increase that much.
The agreement with the county is just over 2 million now, and the increase that you get is the extra tax number every year, as Charlie says, based on population, but it's a flow to how much the increase is at the county level, and they decide how much to give out. So being that we have the biggest town in the county, actually we get the biggest check, which actually this is one of the few times that we actually come out ahead.
This is just projections of where the tax rate's going to be for the town tax. We took assessed values from 200 up to 350. Obviously, everybody's assessed value has been pretty much going up. But compared to last year, there's going to be a drop. If everything stayed the same, your tax rate would drop, but obviously assessed values went up. But with the tax rate dropping 27 cents per thousand, if everything stayed the same, this is where we'd be. We'd have a decrease in your actual tax.
It's hard to tell. Some houses you may see that went up a small percent, some houses stayed flat, some went up a lot. So this is just a baseline number to look at to actually figure out where it's going to be later on. It depends on actually what your assessed value went up this year. Some went up a very small percent, some went up a decent percent. So it's just something to look at. It's not anything that's in stone, because the way everybody's house is and every value is different.
And basically that's a summary of where we are and, you know, what we did for this year's budget. I emailed electronic copy to Felicia this afternoon. She will get your electronic copy either, well, probably tomorrow, or if anyone wants a hard copy, I'll make a hard copy and put it in your basket. So let me know what you want to do. And
It's
then,
rather large, so I don't know if you want a large copy, but we just figured we'd wait and ask before we print them all out, because
It's 200
paper's
some
crazy.
pages, yeah.
And
I
it's
guess
much
we'll reach
easier to
out to
see
the
online.
Finance Committee and we'll set up some dates in October to go over things. If,
You're gonna have it on the website tomorrow?
Yeah.
So it'll be on the website tomorrow as well.
And
And
just-
any resident that wants a copy, they can email me, but
Yeah.
I'll email you guys either before I leave tonight.
I don't think we'll be looking at it when we get home tonight.
Yeah, but that might be the, that might,
Bedtime reading.
that might be the best time for me to get it out, because I've been busy. I've been extremely busy lately.
And that's why we did schedule this meeting, because it has to be in by the end of the month, so it is a few days early. But at this point, it gets turned over to the Finance Committee. Once they start reviewing it, we'll set a date for a public hearing. It has to be adopted by November, beginning of November there, so they have a month to look at it, make any changes. They will be meeting. If anybody has anything or any input as they do read it, please reach out to the Finance Committee and pass on all your thoughts and possibility of savings or whatever you think your input is to it, whether it's a resident or a board member. Finance Committee is Stefan Krakauer, Mike Safone, and Jessica Lopez. So you can get their email address off the website. You can email them any information or reach out to them if you have anything to change or look at, or any thought process to what we can do to save some more money.
any questions or? Okay.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
That brings us to our regular town board meeting. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item on the agenda.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anybody that would like to discuss any item on the agenda? And please ask them to keep it to 3 minutes if they do.
Is it on an agenda item, Michelle? Yeah, it was just on the budget. Sure. Yeah, it's not really an agenda item.
I am so not studied in this, but I understand our town is a sanctuary city. Is it not?
No.
Okay, because all the effort that Jay has and the council members have in keeping the budget low, I mean, I was just told that we're going to have an influx, God bless them, of South American children and, you know, who are being dispersed throughout the country and probably plopped into Poughkeepsie. And it's at about $150,000 per person just to set them up here, and how it might, you know, affect our educational system, where, you know, you have an influx of children that maybe can't speak the language. What's that going to do for the children that we already have in our towns and in our schools that are struggling as it is, and teachers that are struggling as they are? I don't know. I mean, how do you keep costs down unless you're getting money from somewhere? But it's still, even with all the money being thrown around, you have children who are in our system that are not getting the attention they require. So that, you know, I mean, as a person that came from immigrants myself, there's something to be said for planning, and something to be said for irresponsible leadership at the very, very top that are putting pressures on all our communities in this way. And with triple bottom line budgeting that we've also been forced into because we're a smart city, you know, the job that Jay has, I mean, I wouldn't want it to keep the costs down, and it's just, I can't believe the kind of stresses that are being put on all our communities at this time. And forget about the residents, where this is really becoming unsustainable in so many different ways, not just my topic, but in other areas, schools, and what we're doing to our children makes me cry. When I think about it, I try not to, but anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Michelle. Anybody else? Motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Carlos.
Resolution number 5. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept, with regret, the resignation of Catherine Edwards, Animal Control Officer with the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department, effective September 22nd, 2021. So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. I want to thank Kathy for many years of service, and good luck on her next career.
Resolution number 6, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the retirement of Edward Place, Senior Sewer Maintenance Mechanic with the Town of Poughkeepsie Sewer Department, effective September 27th, 2001. So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. I'd like to thank Ed Place for all his many years of working in the sewer department and being the senior sewer maintenance mechanic and working all different hours of the night, called out emergencies. Thank him for his years of service, and good luck in his retirement.
Yeah, I agree. He was an excellent employee.
Yeah.
So.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor or his designee to contract for the erection of a plaque to be placed at Crestwood Park designated pavilion as the Nicholas J. Johnson Jr. Sports Complex at the Thomas D. Mahar Jr. Memorial Ball Field, located in the town's Crestwood Park, in recognition of Dick Johnson Jr.'s many years of dedicated effort to develop and advance baseball and sports programs for the youth of the town of Poughkeepsie. So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any questions?
So we're naming the pavilion,
Well,
not
not
park or the ball
no,
field.
the sports complex, the pavilion, the batting cage is all part of what Nick added.
So the park will be named the next Johnson Sports Complex.
Correct.
But the ball field is.
This is still the
named
Thomas
after
DeMahara Memorial Ball.
Park is still Crestwood Park.
Okay. You know, Nick has done just a ton of stuff for Little League over the years, and Crestwood, that park in particular, so it does make
Yeah.
sense.
He's put a lot of time and effort and still being involved after all these years with no children involved. Give him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Joseph Wisniewski to the position of seasonal part-time school crossing guard with the Town Police Department, a salary of $12.50 per hour, effective October 4, 2021, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per civil service law. And be it further resolved that the Town Supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this one?
Will he be over at Hagan Elementary School? Is that the spot?
I don't know which spot. Yes.
Okay, yeah, because. Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Frederick Riley to the position of full-time Deputy Building Inspector with the Building Department, salary of $30, 83 cents 93 tenths per hour, effective October 25th, 2021, which appointment is subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per civil service law. And be further resolved, the Town Supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0. Number 10 is the historic landmarks and notification of the town board of the historic landmarkers for milestones 77, 80, and 83. In the process after this, if I'm correct, it goes to the Historical Society to make a recommendation. Number 11, whereas the town board of Town of Poughkeepsie has heretofore received an application submitted by Bodan Desmar on behalf of the Town of Poughkeepsie Soccer League requesting to hold their 33rd annual Columbus Day tournament at the Greenvale Soccer Fields and Park in the Town of Poughkeepsie on October 9th and 10th, 2021 from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. with a rain date of October 11th, 2021. Whereas the presence of food vendors is a vital part of a successful event, now therefore be resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does not include the vendors of food participating in this event as peddlers and hawkers, and these vendors are thereby exempt from the provision of Chapter 151 of the Town Code. To be further resolved, the Town Clerk is in receipt of a certificate of liability insurance naming the Town of Poughkeepsie as additional insured, and be it further resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby approved. The application is submitted for said event to be held in the above mentioned dates. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0 with 1 abstain.
Be resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby retain and ratifies the supervisor's retention of Vanderwater and Vanderwater LLP as attorneys to the town at the hourly rate of $185 for partners, $155 for associates, and $80 for paralegals to apply for a search warrant to enter property in the Town of Poughkeepsie for testing and inspection purposes. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution number 13, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby acknowledge receipt of a request on behalf of Residence Inn by Marriott, LLC, 2525 South Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, for a waiver of the 30-day review period for a liquor license application. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the Town Clerk's forwarding of a waiver and consent pursuant to the attached request. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Whereas Dutchess County Legislature adopted County Local Law Number 5 of 1980, which established the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan, hereinafter referred to as the plan, and provided for the rules and regulations for the administration thereof pursuant to Article 5 of the New York Workers' Compensation Law, herein referred to as Workers' Compensation Law, and whereas Section 62 of the Workers' Compensation Law provides the authority for any public corporation to elect to become a part of the plan by resolution of its governing body, and whereas the town board has determined that it would be in the best interest of the town of Poughkeepsie to continue to participate in the plan, and whereas the town board has determined that electing to become a participant in the plan is a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and therefore does not require any environmental review. And now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby elects to become a participant in the plan, with such participation becoming effective January 1st, 2022, and does hereby authorize the supervisor or his designee to execute the participation agreement in substantially the form annexed. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the payment of the town of Poughkeepsie's share of the annual fees and expenses of being a participant in the plan. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to file a certified copy of this resolution with the Director of Risk Management of the County of Dutchess. So moved.
Second.
There's a motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Number 15 has been
Removed.
Number 16, whereas the redevelopment of the Arthur S. May School is proceeding, and whereas the execution of certain documents relating to that redevelopment and the provision of utility services to it are required, now therefore be it resolved, the supervisor is authorized to accept and execute on the behalf of the town the following documents for redevelopment of the Arthur S. May School redevelopment. 1. Declaration of reciprocal easements. 2. Stormwater management facility inspection and maintenance easement. 3. Stormwater management facility inspection and maintenance agreement. 4. Waterline easement to the town of Poughkeepsie. And 5. Sidewalk maintenance agreement. And any supporting recording documents in regard to the Arthur S. May project and substantially the form annexed. And be it further resolved that the planning department's recreation space proposal with fee offset is approved or denied, modified as follows. And be it further resolved that such acceptance and authorization by the town board of town of Poughkeepsie is subject to the approval of all final documents by the town attorney, planning board attorney, town engineer, and the director of municipal development for the town of Poughkeepsie. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this one?
I do have a question.
Do you have to fill this in, approved or denied?
Let's discuss it first.
So regarding the offset of recreation fees, what exactly are they proposing?
Well, if you're looking at that page, you have a letter from the planning department. And you want to build a park on part of the property out front as open space. 2123 Raymond Avenue. And we'll offset a recreation fee in the amount of 50% or $172,500. The planning board agreement is conditioned upon the town board's approval of the proposed amount of the offset and the remaining recreation fee.
I'm generally opposed to not taking a recreation fee for these developments. The thing is, if they put a park in their development as part of their development, it does do something for the people that live there, but the town overall not necessarily. When you take a look at the ball fields, the soccer fields, the baseball fields, the softball fields, there is no space to put kids any longer. At some point, we need something other than a pavilion or a passive recreation park or things like that. We need actual more space for the kids that are coming into the town. So when we waive these rec fees, we pass on the opportunity to start to accumulate funds to acquire land for ball fields and playgrounds and things. So I get it that that's what they want to do, but it's problematic. And over time, the cumulative impact of what we're not getting is significant. And we also don't have the funds to go out and buy land without bonding out for it, which costs the taxpayers money. So I don't think that we should, as a matter of practice, I don't think that we should be waiving recreation fees unless it's something significant and out of the ordinary. So just a passive park doesn't add recreation where the kids that are going to live in these developments need somewhere to play. So if they got a park where they could walk their dog, great, but they're still going to be on the ball fields and soccer fields and everything else. And if you go to any of these fields, you'll see that they're just jammed up. There's just so many people trying to play, and that also excludes a lot of the adult leagues and other people that would like to use the fields, because we don't have enough fields for just the youth in our town these days. So.
I'm sorry, I do agree with that, because I do remember, I can't think of the date, but I know we actually wanted this to come back before the town board for properties that wanted to waive the fees, so the town board made that determination, not the planning board. That was a number of years ago, I remember we did do that.
I don't think it's in our hands, as far as waiving fees. It's in our hands, if I'm correct, Jim, accepting the property. In this case, it came to us because even though we will be getting the property, they will be maintaining the property. Is that correct?
Yes. And the reason that this is in there, as you can see from reading the resolution of the planning board, is because the planning board proceeded to be acceptable of this, but they wanted to not fully endorse it unless they knew that the town board was behind it. So
my suggestion would be at this time is take that piece out, and we can have further discussion, because first of all, it just came in today at 3 o'clock, and I don't think anybody here has seen it before tonight. No.
Could I also make a comment here too that I'd like to weigh in on? Is even though this is a passive use park, it's going to be right on Raymond Avenue, and it's going to be very accessible for the people in Arlington, and it's an asset for the people of Arlington. That this is going to help beautify the street, and it's going to be a real asset and also a nice addition to the project there. And also, we're not waiving 100% of the fees. 50% are still going to be paid, and that is a large sum of money. So I'd just like to weigh in that there are positives to this plan.
My honest opinion is the project should have that and pay a rec fee. I mean, it's part of what you would put into a project to make it nice. So it shouldn't be that it's one or the other. But the reality is we need fields, land for kids, for adults, for people to play games on, and sporting events and family events. The Passive Recreation Park is nice, but that does nothing to alleviate the stress that we already have on our current facilities and parks. So to say 50% is not that big of a deal, but then it's a lot of money, is contradictory. So
the next town board meeting is only next week, just so you know.
I think
Jacob would like to speak.
We'll wait before he does speak, because this is not a public hearing.
No.
Yeah.
I'm
What's
just
the
saying.
board's, well, actually, we'll let Jacob speak, because before I make a motion of any sort. Jacob, would you like to say something? Unmute yourself. Jacob.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys listening and hearing the concept. I think some of the comments made are things we had taken into consideration when we spoke to the planning board and recognized that the town is looking to get some fees, and so we were not asking for 100% of the fees. I think the intent here is that we had designed and received approval for a plan that has a park which was designed for the tenants of the property and would be a private use park that was really geared towards accommodating the tenants living on the property. And I want to also mention, when we designed the property, being in the town center, we designed it with 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, trying to shy away from 3 bedrooms and larger, which would bring more kids into the community. Even though we heard from the Arlington schools that their population was going down. I'm a graduate of the Greenvale soccer program and a big supporter of the soccer field. So you're getting a win for me in that concept. But our thought process here is that even though we have an approved plan for the park, we would actually go back to the planning board and come up and offer to either build what is currently approved, or come up with some additional concept that would be more inviting for town residents. And then we would open up the area for not just residents of the community, but also not just residents of the property, also residents of the community. That was the concept. So we were trying to take into account the fact that a significant amount of fees would go to the town. We would be spending additional dollars on redesigning and building facilities that would be for more than just tenants of our property. So I appreciate you guys hearing this through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob.
No, like I said, I agree with what Stefan was saying as well. I mean, He just mentioned, it's the private facility for their residents there, but I would assume that those residents might get into a town league or something and have to utilize other parks throughout the town. And, sitting on the recreation committee before and knowing there's over 20 parks, a lot of them need work still too, so that money really can be utilized to take care of some of the parks as well. So I think we should look at that some more.
My recommendation would be to take that piece out temporarily. Well, take that piece out right now and approve the other
Second.
pieces. All those in favor of that?
Aye.
Who moved the amendment?
Jay moved it, I second.
Okay.
Yep.
Pardon me?
Jay made it, I second.
Thank you.
And we have a motion on the resolution, General?
This is with the recreation piece
Out.
out.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0 with the recreation piece taken out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's up? Who's next? I'll read.
Me. Be resolved, the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items to wit. 1, set date for public hearing, Town Code Amendment, Chapter 169, smoking, vaping, e-cigarettes, and other tobacco products. 2, authorize supervisor to sign CDBG agreement and with County of Dutchess. 3, notification the following petition has been referred to legal Ball versus Town, and be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the town board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
A motion second. Any question on these? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the resolutions. I can't read them.
All right, I'll read it. Be it resolved, the town board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby set the 20th day of October 2021, 7 p.m., Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, as and for the time, date, and place of public hearing to adopt by local law code Chapter 169 entitled Smoking, Vaping, E-Cigarettes, and Other Tobacco Products. Be it further resolved that the proposed local law is attached hereto and as Exhibit A and incorporated herein, the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said proposed law and does direct that it is spread across the record as if it, in fact, had been read verbatim. Be it further resolved that after reviewing the proposed local law and annexed environmental assessment form, this board determines that the adoption of this local law is unlisted action under secret, and there are no other involved agencies, and that it will conduct an uncoordinated secret review of this local law. And be it further resolved that said local law, if adopted, shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this one?
No questions. I just wanted to say thanks to Mike for this because I think it's so important. We're seeing these smoke and vape shops come up everywhere, and e-cigarettes and vapes are so glamorized, and anything we can do to keep our town and our residents and our kids healthy and safe, I think is great. So thank you for taking the time to do this.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Whereas the County of Dutchess has applied for and been awarded a community development block grant and has been given the authority to allocate funds to eligible municipalities, and whereas the County of Dutchess has authorized the Town of Poughkeepsie to receive a grant award in amount not to exceed $95,000 for improvements at the Sheep Road Park in the Town of Poughkeepsie, and as part of said payment, the Town of Poughkeepsie is required to execute an agreement with the County of Dutchess. Now therefore be resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to execute the attached agreement with the County of Dutchess in substantially the form as presented. So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any questions on this one?
Well, it's good to see that park being worked on. It'll be nice.
Like we were just talking about, it's
Yep.
one of them that really needs it.
This will be one on Sheep Road, and I think Sheep Road gets very high visibility down there. It's inclusive park along the same lines as what we have up here in Over Rocker Road, so having one on each end of the town will be beneficial. We also did receive earlier this year a $15,000 grant for the senior center, COVID related, to address some of the issues in the senior center through the community development block grant also. And SC3 is a petition for the legal Ball versus the town. With that, we come to the end of our agenda. I'd like to make the motion to suspend the rules for any item at all and ask people to please keep it at 3 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Would anybody like to bring up any item in general? Anybody online? Not? Motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I have two things. I'd just like to remind everybody that this Saturday, 10/2, at about 2:30, we will be unveiling the new sign at Crestwood Park to honor both Nick Johnson Jr. and Mr. Mahar Sr. And on Sunday, 10/3, at 9 o'clock in the morning, if anybody's up, Hudson Heritage are doing the ribbon cutting for the shop rate, so come on down.
And the ShopRite is the first business opening up at Hudson Heritage. So
Hudson,
Yeah.
what did I say?
No, I'm saying it's the first
Oh.
business open up at Hudson Heritage. No, not saying you say anything wrong, Mike. No, just letting people know it is the start and of many businesses to follow in a short period of time. They're right behind it. With that, anybody got anything else? No. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.